We are
Welcome to Beautifully Melanated Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah, and I'm here with my co-hosts.
I'm Kay, and happy Mother's Day to all our listeners who are mothers. Just a shout out to you. Hope you had a lovely day. Okay, so happy Mother's Day to all our listeners. Apologies for the technical difficulties there at the start of the show. Hope you are resting, have been spoiled. Hope you've enjoyed Sunday dinner. Maybe you're eating the last little bits of the rice and peas in the pot. Whatever it is, glad you've joined us for another episode of Beautifully Melanated Podcast, live on Lightning Radio. So, as we're a little bit late to starting, we're going to go straight into Karen, who's going to introduce our What's in the World.
Good evening. Right, so, again, apologies for a late start. But, before we start...
Because everybody knows what the fuck happened.
Right, I'm trying to get a clip for you because it is my What in the World this week. And we're talking about Chris Rock, Jada and Will. The saga continues. So I'm actually trying to play this from my phone, so do bear with me. Technical hitches tonight. But I'm going to try and play this for you. 1 second.
Because everybody that really knows,
Right, hold on a minute.
knows I had nothing.
Right, it keeps jumping, ladies and gents. I do apologise for that. I'm trying to start it from the top. 1 second. Let me see if it'll play now. Okay.
Nothing to do with that shit. I didn't have any
All right.
entanglements.
Okay, it's not working. So I will just have to tell you what he said. So basically, Chris Rock has got a new stand-up comedy show. It's called Selective Outrage, I think it's called. And it's to do with the saga that is Will and Jada. Okay, so as we all saw at the Oscars, wasn't it? The Oscars last year, Chris Rock made a joke about Jada, right? So he called her G.I. Jane or something like that. Now she does have alopecia, and it's a hair condition, right? So I do understand that. It could have been a sensitive topic for her. However,
G.I. Jane was hot though.
Jada's hot.
Of all the
Let's face
things
it.
to be called after.
Yeah, I mean, she's beautiful,
yeah, she
right?
is, yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, you've got alopecia, but you're still rocking.
Yeah, exactly.
And
She always had
looks
short hair,
absolutely
didn't she?
gorgeous with short hair.
Yeah,
She's always
exactly,
got short hair.
Yeah.
So I was really surprised when Will reacted in the way that he did. So I'm sure you all know, but just to kind of, go over it again. So Chris makes this joke. Will Smith, actually, you can see in the clip, he's laughing, right? So he sat there, he's laughing. And then you look over at Jada and her face is like thunder. Like she is not having any of it.
Yeah.
So then I think after Will sees Jada's face, he then goes on stage and absolutely smacks Chris one, doesn't he?
Excellent.
Hang on. Oh, right. Okay, this is interesting. So, yes, he absolutely smacks him. And then you can see that Chris is just dumbfounded. At first, I thought it was part of the act. I didn't even realise that it was real. So I was thinking to myself, oh my, this can't be real. He didn't mean that. Because I could see that Will was laughing. Anyway, I think it's because Will loves Jada very much. I think you can see that, right? As a couple. And the thing is, I love them as a couple. I love black love, right? I love how they are together and I love them as a couple. So hearing that she had an entanglement was quite disappointing for me. I was quite saddened that there were, look, everybody has bumps in their relationships and they are no exception. Just because they're celebrities with lots of money, that doesn't... His wife, that he was on her side, that he was supportive, that he's not going to let another man diss her. I think it was his pride. I think, he was obviously struggling because of what she'd done. However, I think that, I think it was wrong. I think that Will rather behaved very, very badly.
Very Freudian there? Freudian stuff?
No, I mean it.
Yes, he did.
I think that Will behaved really, really badly because it was a joke. It was a joke, even if you don't like the joke. There are other ways that you could deal with that. You could go to him after and say, look, that was below the belt. You don't talk about a woman like that, or whatever. He could have even said it. He could have said, hold on there a minute. But it's a joke. He's a comedian, right?
Well, he did say, take my wife's name out of your mouth.
And how did
he shouted that on the stage?
He did
before the slap,
right?
But the thing about that is that I think it made him. I don't think it helped Will at all. I don't see how that was helpful to Will because to me, that just highlighted the fact that he was really, really embarrassed and uncomfortable with everything that had gone on, and I think that just showed that in their marriage, they have a very severed relationship. That's what it showed.
They have an open relationship, don't they?
That's what I thought. That they were
they're polyamorous.
Well, is that not since
I think since the beginning of time.
I had heard it. I don't know if it's true, but I had heard it before it was revealed that it was August that she tangled with.
Yeah, August.
So why? So if they have an open relationship, then why was that an issue? Because surely that should. I don't think. Well, that really wouldn't make sense to me if they have an open relationship and that would be okay. I'm surprised that was his reaction.
With polyamory, I think you have to have really specific rules and boundaries.
You do have to discuss with each other.
Yeah,
and had she gone,
and perhaps feelings got involved, or perhaps something happened that was outside of the remit of their agreement.
With polyamory, you have your relationship and the person that you love, and then there's this physical side of sleeping with other people. But you're not in love with the people you sleep with. It's purely physical.
And maybe it was agreed they don't see him or the other without the other. There are terms and conditions.
Well, it didn't work.
It didn't work.
No.
Clearly, that polyamorousness was not working. Didn't work. And also, I just find it interesting that she would bring it to red table talk. I thought that was really uncomfortable for him.
Of course, very.
I think it was unnecessary.
That was unnecessary. I was like, Jada, come on. I slept with someone else. How do you feel about that? I just thought, that wasn't great.
No.
So, let me have your thoughts.
I think you're right. I think her putting it out on red table embarrassed him in a way that was hurtful, that didn't really give him his, what's the word I'm looking for? Probably challenged his masculinity. It's not nice to say I cheated on you and I'm going to let the whole world know I cheated on you and who with. Come on, that's going too far. So this is how you know she's not with a Jamaican man, because there is no way you could bun a Jamaican man and then not only do you tell him, but you tell the whole world as well. That is insane. So yeah, he was humiliated and embarrassed. You could see it. But I don't know if that's the only reason why he slapped Chris. I feel like there's other reasons, which I will go into later. But Sarah, what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's difficult because that is his wife, and he is kind of protecting his wife. But at the same time, there are ways that could have been dealt with. He could have actually spoke to Chris Rock afterwards, etc., etc. But I don't know. I know he was impulsive and stuff, but obviously he loves this woman, and he felt that he had been, I don't know, humiliated again. But should she bring it to red table? No. There's some things I feel that don't need to be put on social media. Couldn't she just speak to her husband? Couldn't he just speak to his wife away from this blooming red table for once,
Mind you, I did wonder, Sarah, is it that someone was threatening to expose it so they owned it first? Because I remember when someone threatened to leak news of Sia, and I think it was Sia the singer, and she leaked them first because she was like, you're not having this power over me. So I wondered if there was...
But she could leak that without interviewing her husband. Could have polyamorous relationship or not.
Yeah.
Whatever happened, whatever transpired, really hurt her husband. You can see
it.
He's hurting. So whatever, right? He's really, really hurting. He's really, really upset. Wounded his masculinity, which maybe betrayed his trust, whatever it is, yeah? She brings it to Red Table Talk. He has to sit through an interview with his wife who has cheated on him. That was just, I just think the whole thing was just difficult for him.
Yeah.
So then, and I do think he took that out on Chris because he could.
Yeah.
I don't believe that was really to do with Chris and his
joke. There's more than that.
I think it was a lot more than that.
But this is where I was saying, good, he deserved that slap. It's because he is at the Oscars. It's worldwide. Everybody knows Will is in pain. Why on earth would you poke a joke at a man in pain?
But
what other response did you expect to get?
I disagree. This is comedy. It is comedy. They are public figures, right? And he wasn't poking. He didn't make a joke about the August thing.
August Alsina.
No, he made a joke about his wife, and he just called her G.I. Jane. I don't think that was particularly offensive, really, if you think about it.
On its own, no, but apparently Jada has been in Chris's stand-up routine for years. That he was interested in her. She blew him off. She chose Will. He has been making jokes about her in his stand-up routine for years.
Do you know what? The interesting thing is...
She chose Will, come on.
Exactly.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, there's no comparison. But anyway, when I watched a clip of Chris's stand-up show, he was saying that he absolutely adored Will. He said, I've watched him my whole life. I've had the most respect for him, loved him. And so he didn't expect that. And I don't know if Chris fancied Jada or not. Why not? She's absolutely gorgeous. He may well have. But I think Chris makes fun of lots of people. I don't think it's just her. And to say, I think that he's targeted her because he was disgruntled because she didn't want him, I think is a stretch. And I just think that if you think about it, even so, he's made jokes about everybody because he's a comedian. That's what he does.
I don't
take it so personally.
Chris isn't funny to me. He's problematic.
I
don't even think he likes black women, quite frankly. So of course he adores Will. They're brethren. They could be brethren. It's Jada. That's the problem. But this is the same Chris who did the documentary Good Here on black women in the community. I don't know what the purpose of that documentary was because I watched it and I didn't come away thinking this gave me anything. Did any of you watch it? The Good Here documentary?
Years
I thought that was interesting. I tell you why I thought it was interesting, because he was talking about the damaging effects of chemical straighteners.
Relaxers.
Well, we all know.
But but I don't think he was. I don't think that the point of the documentary was to say this is good hair, that's bad hair. I think he was just talking about the things that we endure, the things that we do, and the effects of some of those things. That's how I took it. And he was talking about, what the creaming lotions do, what they're made of, the chemicals. I thought that was quite informative, actually.
The black community already knows it.
To be fair, at the time, I think it taught me things I didn't know about. I wouldn't know what was in a chemical relaxer, not at the time. And that was at a point where I would, perhaps I was still straightening my hair, I'm not sure. Or maybe I had stopped, but I had used chemical relaxers.
As have I, but the burn tells you there is something in there that is not good for you when your scalp is on fire and tearing off and full of
But we still do it. We're still doing it. There are lots and lots. I mean, I've seen children.
Yeah, lots of people do.
Lots of people.
When they do it, children.
Lots of people straighten their children's hair. Even if they use they say it's a texturizer. It's the same thing.
It's chemical.
Right? It's a chemical, right? So I think that he was actually highlighting something that's quite important. I didn't see that as a negative program, if I'm honest. I didn't see that. No.
Okay.
I thought it was quite informative and quite eye-opening, if I'm honest. And I think the angle he came at it from, it felt genuine to me, as if he was trying to highlight something and trying to sort of make our community aware. That's maybe. And the thing is, not everyone's going to like him. He's a comedian. Some people really like him. Some people won't. I think he's quite funny, but you don't find him so funny, and that's absolutely fine. But the issue tonight is, should Will Smith have gone up and slapped a comedian on stage in front of so many people because he made a joke about his wife?
Yes.
Possibly.
Yes.
I think a lot of people would have. If there had not been famous people, a lot of people would have given one slap. That would be worse than that.
Think about. I'm just trying to think about other comedians who've said, mean things. Like, I'm just trying to think of
Most comedians do,
Dave
don't they?
Chappelle makes
Don't like
jokes
him
about.
either.
Okay.
I don't. If you're a good comedian, you would crack me up. You don't have to attack people or pick on people to make me laugh. And Chris, mind you, with Chris as well, he loves white men more than he loves anybody else. You would have seen that clip going around with him giving Ricky Gervais and someone else permission to say the N-word repeatedly.
Oh, I didn't see that. I've not.
Like, what is wrong with you? And they're all there kikiing like hyenas.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that.
Not funny. Like, dude, no. So there's no boundary he wouldn't cross. That's why for me the slap was so appropriate. Whether or not it related to Jada is besides
maybe that's the thing though. Maybe for you, what you're saying is because of his behaviour in previous, things that he's done, you have taken quite an offence to his material. And I haven't actually seen that. So can you tell me a little bit more about that? So he has allowed Ricky Gervais and who else was it?
I'll ask our lovely helper here, Leah. Could you pull up the clip of Chris Rock with Ricky Gervais and another comedian on my phone? Yeah, and it's old because it kept, after the slap, it came up again and people were like, yeah, good, serve you right. You should have slapped the other cheek and slapped some sense into you because you need to know when to stop and what boundaries you really need to hold. And then after that, he did something even more egregious. I couldn't find it before coming on air, but he was investing in a housing complex and pulled out or threatened to pull out because the majority beneficiaries would have been the Black community.
Okay, so but this now is about Chris as a person, not the issue. They're two separate things. If you don't like Chris Rock because of his ethics, his comedy, his style, his personality, that's a different thing. You don't have to like him.
Yeah.
And you can say, okay, good, because somebody smacked you one because you're a horrible person. But the question is, should he have been slapped because of the joke? I don't think he should have. No. I think they're two completely separate things. And Will Smith actually has gone on to say he's sorry.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
He's left he's made a video to say, now, had he not done that, we could have still stood behind that and said, right, that's how he felt. But actually, Will Smith is apologetic and he does feel bad. I
feel like he should have slapped him for the joke anyway. There is no need to take the mick out of a Black woman in a room full of how many people and millions watching worldwide. But all the women there, he picks the Black woman.
But he only said, but think about the joke though. I'm struggling with this.
He could have picked on anybody else's appearance that night. Why go for Jada?
Why not?
But why?
I can't see that. I can't see why that was an issue. I really can't. Because I don't think it was that offensive. I just think, and the thing is, she's so beautiful with her short hair.
But it doesn't matter. When you have a choice about something, you can own it differently. Alopecia, you don't have a choice. It's hair loss that comes before you're ready to go bald.
Fair enough.
It's like saying to a woman who is infertile or we're on Mother's Day or who chose not to have children that, therefore you're fair game. I can make jokes. No, you may not.
People do, don't they? As well?
And people do. And it's not right. Do, yeah. He doesn't know how she feels about her hair loss. Therefore, come on. Okay, let me make a link for you. He made a documentary about good hair and what Black women go through for good hair, air quotes, and then thinks it's okay to joke about a woman with no hair.
I think you've got a point in that. It is, I suppose it would be like if she was suffering with cancer or something and he made a joke about that. That's not funny, is it? Because it's an illness. So I suppose what you're saying is it's a similar situation. She has a condition and he joked about a condition.
Yeah, and there's an emotional attachment to her hair. I mean, I could ask you, Karen, how you feel now about going bald. Let's go down barbers tomorrow.
If I looked like Jada, not a problem.
You're just as beautiful.
I don't
what are you
look
talking
like
about?
Jada. Unfortunately, that is not my gift.
But what I'm saying is if you were to wake up and your hair start to come out and you have alopecia, that's a very different experience.
That's right. I can't imagine what that would be like.
That's true, because it's not choice. I get that. I think that because it is a condition, it's like any other condition, isn't it? It's like having a disability or something like that.
Help
to make and to make fun of that is not, that's unkind, isn't it? So you're not just making fun of the fact that, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of what other thing, I don't know, I've heard quite a few comedians make some really sort of close to the edge. Yeah, they usually do. I think it's quite standard. I don't know. I still think it was disproportionate for what he did. That's my opinion. Was it in bad taste? Yes. Possibly in poor taste. But I still think that his reaction was disproportionate to the crime. I still think.
Okay, so let's say the entanglement hadn't happened and he had just been defending his wife.
That'd be normal.
Would that be okay?
That'd be
with
normal.
you?
I think that'd be normal. If someone went to something really offensive, out in the community, if someone says something really offensive about someone's wife, they would, and someone slapped them for it, no one would really care.
It's true. It's
Will Smith. They'd be like, yeah.
Why can't he defend his wife and slap you?
I tell you what it is. I think it's because it was physical. I think hitting someone is actually a criminal offence.
It is, but it's so normal that if you go to a traveller Irish wedding, my friend had her husband's side, traveller side, she almost got knocked out on a wedding day. Like, there's so much drinking and brawling. Yeah. I'm saying, like, you just don't.
I mean, look, I hear what you're saying. People, that is a response that many people would slapped. I do get that. However, it's still a criminal offence to slap someone, and he did that so publicly. And I think I'm struggling because of his motivation. I think it's on the back of what she's done, and for me, I believe that that's what fueled it.
Did he say that in his apology?
No. This is just my intake. That's just my personal opinion. No, he didn't say
I've heard speculation that that's why, but actually, has he come out and said, and I slapped him because I was already feeling frustrated and
he's not. I don't think he's going to say that. To be fair, I don't think he's. And also, in his apology, I just don't think he would have apologized. He could, if he stood by that and said, "You know what? Good." But he hasn't. He is really remorseful.
Is he though? Or have the media told him he needs to apologise for the sake of his career in another movie?
I don't know that. Well, look what he's done. He's done it now.
He was punished far more severely than a white man would be. And white men have done some real
What did they do?
Messed up things at the Oscars too. His Netflix project was pulled. His film had halted. He was like literally untouchable. Nobody was working with Will in the aftermath of that slap. Because how dare he? Yet, when other white men do it, it's like, well, yeah, defending her honor, isn't it?
Can you think of another example? I can't think.
I think when it happened, there were other videos of white men behaving badly at the Oscars, kissing someone full on the mouth, no consent, and she was really uncomfortable. I can't remember who was presenting that year. Few other things have happened at the Oscars which should be frowned upon because it's not appropriate. And they weren't punished and asked to leave the association. I mean, they came down really hard on him. I think it's because he's a black man. Had a white man done it, I don't think they would have gotten that.
But you have to remember though, it was a black person slapping another black person. I can't even say it was like a black person slapping a white person, therefore there's a racist element to it. I think it was just
that wasn't that.
It's you're out of order.
I kind of think he was.
So what's Chris saying in his Netflix special? Because he's paid $20 million for this special, by the way.
He has, yes, he's been paid a lot of money. I tell you what, honestly, technology is not my friend. If I could play the clip, I will try to do that, but I am struggling with it. It would be really interesting just to hear it, wouldn't it? I will try.
I did listen to it before we came on air, Karen, and one thing that jumped out at me was the line. I think I could spend maybe an hour talking about this line, Sarah, because it really is. There's so much to it. He says he didn't slap Will back because he was raised right.
Right.
He was raised not to fight in front of white people.
Is that what he said?
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
He
in
did
that
say
special.
That. I don't know if that was also a joke to an extent. Remember, he is a comedian, and it was a stand-up set. I heard that as
another joke.
It's a double meaning, isn't it? There is some truth to it, but it was also funny at the same time.
So he can't stop. He can't see. That's the problem with comedians. They end up not knowing where the line is.
Well, that's the thing. But then I guess that's comedy, in a way. Otherwise, you end up with, dare I say, the Lenny Hennys of the world who crosses nothing, and then it's just mediocre.
Yeah, crap.
Let's make it so that white people aren't offended. Let's just not offend anyone. In fact, let's just not have it at all.
Yeah.
So but it's freedom of speech, isn't it? That's the whole point. You know, you are free to speak. You are free to make jokes, and it's funny. It's funny.
I don't know. If I'm the butt of the joke, I'm not laughing.
I laugh to an extent. Depends what your joke is. I would laugh if,
Yeah.
You know.
I guess maybe for her, that was a little bit too close to the bone. Yeah, possibly.
Just go.
But I'm like, yeah. See, that was a joke. See?
Exactly.
Yeah. Made a joke. She could have taken offence for that.
But I'm not at the Oscars, and I'm not being cheered worldwide to 12 million people.
It was so funny.
Thank you.
Okay, we are Beautifully Melanated Podcast on Lightning FM. We are talking about Chris Rock, Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, and the slap. Absolutely. Please let us know your thoughts. I'm just trying to find our telephone number now. If you'd like to message in, please do so. Text us on 07598 160 730. I'll say that again. 07598 160 730. Right, so let me see if I can play this. Honestly, like I say, technology and me, oh gosh. Right, let me see. I'll give this a go.
Collective outrage. And he ain't come to play, taking the gloves off and throwing some shots at Will and Jada that got the internet on fire. Let's check it out.
Will Smith practices selective outrage. Because everybody knows what happened. Everybody that really knows I had nothing to do with that. I didn't have any entanglements. I did not have any entanglements. And then for people that don't know, and everybody knows, Will said that his wife was fucking her son's friend. Okay? But for some reason, these niggas put that shit on the internet. We all been cheated on. Everybody in here has been cheated on. None of us have ever been interviewed by the person that cheated on us on television. None of us. Hey, I was sucking somebody else's dick. How did that make you feel? You hurt him way more than he hurt me, okay?
Chris got a point there. Why would they put their business on the internet like that? Truth is, the only reason why everybody even know.
Right, so that's a little tiny snippet of what Chris says in his show. I thought it was very funny. I thought it was funny, but then that's just me.
Well, he is right. Why on earth would you put that on the internet? That's what we were saying earlier. Why the red table talk about it?
I think people just get so carried away, celebrities, that's they live their life around this bloody red table, don't they? So they just thought, let's just put everything out there.
But I find her really insensitive. I really like Will, and I really loved her, but I just find her really insensitive, quite entitled, dare I say it, ladies. I know, I'm a fellow woman, but I do. I find her really just indulgent, and I think
they get like that, don't they? When they become celebrities, often they get like that.
I think it's because he loves her more, possibly, than she loves him. Right. That's what I'm getting. I hear people say, Tupac was the love of her life, and
really, okay,
apparently,
I mean, I'm not mad at it. For far too long, it's been the other way around. Women loving men more than the men love them, and the suffering. I am not mad at it.
Yeah, but does that make it okay then? For
it's not okay either way. I'm just saying, if it were reversed and she loved Will more than Will loved her, would we even say it?
But we'd hate him. We'd be like, oh, he's out of order. He did this. He did that. We hate on men when they do that. We are the first ones to be like, he's this, he's that. Quite rightly so. But when it's a woman, we defend her. No.
But men cheating is nothing new, and yet her cheating is seen as Scarlet Woman. Oh my God, the pearls are being clutched, and because a woman cheated. Hello.
No, but I'm saying when a man cheats, I don't think, it may be normalized because it's common. Doesn't make it okay. I would never say that's fine. He's cheating. Never. So she's no exception. She has to hold it just the same way I'd give it to a man. I'm giving it to her. I love her, but she's out of order. Yeah. And I will have him. Well, I'm free.
You want an entanglement?
I'd love an entanglement. With Will Smith, anyway.
I mean, Chris says everybody's been cheated on. I'm not sure that's true, but the proportion of men that cheat on women is far greater than women who cheat on men. And how comes her cheating has made it to the Oscars to a Netflix special.
No, I agree.
It's a bit much, considering that many comedians cheat, many men cheat, celebrity or otherwise.
I think women just cheat and get away with it. I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
Men are too obvious.
I think it's the way in which she cheated. She could have cheated and nobody would have known. She made it a business to let people know, including her husband, that she cheated. You're taking the mick. I'm sorry.
My mom told me that someone she knew lived with her man for years. They had a children-raised family, and she ironed the shirt that he then wore to marry his mistress.
Oh my God.
Yeah. She did not know he was getting married that day. He asked her to iron the shirt. She ironed it. And my man went off and got married. So don't tell me about how men fear men. I fear men because honestly.
Absolutely. No. What I'm saying is, men can be really deceitful and deceiving and low down. And I'm not disputing.
So can women, though, in different ways.
So can women in different ways. All I'm saying is that the way in which she did it wasn't very nice for Will.
I agree.
So that happens, it happens. And if it had been the other way around, I would have said exactly the same thing. I love Jada, how dare you, Will? I thought better of you, blah, blah, blah. I would have said the same thing. All I'm saying is somebody made a joke about her hair, and for that he was slapped in the face on national television at the Oscars. I just think it was disproportionate. That's all. We can beg to differ on this, can't we? We can agree to disagree.
I'm really not. Maybe not appropriate, but that's that when he said, "Oh, I was raised not to fight in front of white people." I thought, as opposed to what? It's okay to fight in front of black people. It's okay to fight black people.
I think I took that as a joke.
Really?
I thought that was funny.
See, this is why I can't tell when he's joking.
Yeah, I took that as a joke
because I didn't take that as a joke. I thought, and there it is. That's why you thought it was okay to sit around and kiki with two other comedians saying the N-word, because what your mother thought you was your behavior should be such that white people shouldn't have anything to say, or you have to perform. What?
That, to me, is really, really, that's very disheartening. Because actually, I think I would have taken offence had I heard that or seen that clip. Because I don't understand what would make him do that. And I don't understand why he thought that would be okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm confused by that one. And maybe I would lose faith in Chris if I had seen that. But I haven't seen it. I'll have to, if you could send
it's there,
it.
I will find it.
Yeah, because that's not on.
You think he was joking then that his parents raised him to not fight in front of white people?
No, I think there is some truth in it. Maybe there's obviously a reason why, because they're African Americans, aren't they? So he's obviously raised at a particular time in a certain environment where, maybe his parents did say that, or maybe that was a common theme that was said. But I'm saying the way that he used it in his show was funny.
It could have been a throwaway comment.
It was a throwaway kind of, I think it had a double meaning to it. I think there's some truth in it, but it was funny.
Do you think if it was two white men, we would still be as outraged at the Oscars, one slapping the other?
No.
I agree, Sarah. I don't think we would be as outraged.
Do you know why I wouldn't be outraged? Because I would probably care less. That's why.
I wouldn't care.
Why do you care now? Because I wouldn't care now. I don't
care less.
I tell you why. Because I actually like Will Smith, and I liked them as a couple. And I think that the slap was fueled by her behaviour. That's why I care about it. And if it was two other people that I don't watch, I don't know, two celebrities, I've never seen their films, it wouldn't be impactful. I wouldn't care. I actually like these people. I don't know them as celebrities, I mean.
But Will's career, remember, Will was the only rapper I could listen to growing up because his lyrics were clean.
Yeah, you're very...
Yeah, Will is very clean cut, well behaved, toes the line kind of guy, even in his movies.
Yeah.
So he has a moment of rage outburst and he acts on it. I don't feel like he should be
punished.
Yeah, not in this way.
I don't think, the thing is, for me, it's not really him I'm punishing. I just don't like the way that Jada behaved. Not that she had an affair. People have affairs. I don't like her behaviour, which I believe resulted in him behaving out of character. That's my issue.
And that's what happened when you go spill your business out road, innit? Why they couldn't keep that to themselves?
Exactly. I think that's my point.
they put it out there, so they made themselves
made themselves
comedy fodder.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
And
really
and
my
you're
point.
right. I suppose if I'm doing my job and I get slapped, I wouldn't be too happy about it, but I would slap back. No matter what teaching I had, my reflex would what?
Yeah.
Chris should have, I think he should have slapped him back, personally.
Yeah.
If I slapped me in the face, I'll
I think,
knock him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You
I'm
would,
just
you would
mind
do
my
the
business.
day.
Go back. As long as it comes and slaps me in the face, that's it.
Yeah.
Right.
Finito.
Done it done.
Hey-o. Hey-o. And it's you going down.
And yet what restrained him was his mother taught him not to fight in front of white people. Maybe that's not what restrained him. Maybe.
No, I think he was so taken aback. I think he was shocked. And I think you sometimes don't react very quickly in shock. I think he was he was hosting the Oscars. You know what I mean? Like he caught him so off guard. Like I said, for ages, I actually thought it was a joke. I thought it was the two of them, like it was premeditated. They thought about it, and it was like,
Right.
So, but anyway, well, I think we've exhausted that topic.
I'd love to hear from Robin or any other listener who has a different opinion on the slap and our responses to it. Give us a text, give us a call, 07598 160 730, or you can go on to lightningradio.net and put your comments in the chat function there.
All right, ladies, should we introduce the topic? Who wants to do that? So we've got 10 more minutes till we go to ads.
Yeah. What are we talking about this week, ladies?
Mother's Day.
Hurrah!
Yes, we are talking about Mother's Day. So, I happen to quite like Mother's Day. I have 2 daughters, and my youngest made me the most amazing pancakes in bed. With strawberries and dusted sugar and a lovely cup of tea. I know. And she cut them in the shape of a heart.
Oh, so lovely.
Look at that.
How lovely.
I've clearly done something right.
Yes, you have.
So I was very, very happy about that. Normally, she's not that attentive at all. So that was a real shock for me.
No wonder you enjoyed Mother's Day.
I did. I really, really enjoyed Mother's Day. I was so blessed. I felt so, I just felt very blessed. Very lucky to have the children I have. Very lucky to have the relationship I have with my children. My eldest, bless her, she sent me a delivery, right? And it went to an Amazon locker. So she called me and she said, like, Mum, go into your emails and you will see this link. You've got to go to this Amazon locker at a petrol station, and it's in there. I was like, why would you do that? Just get to the house. But anyway, she's like, oh, Mum, I didn't know if you were going to be in blah, blah. So she said it's easy. Oh, my God.
It is.
Well, not for
It
you.
is easy.
It's so easy,
It would be easy if you weren't
so
me.
easy. Just put in a code or scan a barcode and the locker pops open. You take it out.
It's me you're talking to. Like, Mrs. I have no idea. Please do not give me anything slightly or remotely related to technology. So I get there, get to the petrol station, I say to the lady, right, look, I'd like to get my parcel. So she says, okay, we need your barcode. So I go into this email. First of all, it went to spam, so I couldn't find it.
Oh, no.
I'm not, honestly.
Were you sweating at this point?
I was sweating at this point. So then I find it, and then it said I had to have the app. I did luckily have the app, but then it said I had to go into settings to allow permissions. Well, they lost me at that point.
Yeah.
I had to call her up and say, Jay, I can't. I don't know. I can't. Anyway, I finally got my parcel. So bless her. She sent me something because she's all the way in uni, up in Nottingham studying, bless her. And I was just really, really grateful. So yes, I've had a lovely Mother's Day. My youngest did all the washing up.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, she did all that for me. So yeah, I feel very, very blessed. I feel very, very lucky. Yeah. So please tell us what you did for Mother's Day. Again, that number is 07598 160 730. Let us know what you did for Mother's Day. Sarah?
So I've got my daughter who's 10. I actually gave my mother some chocolates and a card, but I gave her it last week after work, so I dropped that off for her. But so my daughter and I, we've got a very close relationship, and she asked me yesterday, she said, oh, Mum, can we go and buy a Mother's Day card for you? So I said, okay, yeah, sure. And then she wrote to me like, dear Mum, happy Mother's Day, you mean the world to me, and I hope you will never leave me. Roses are red, violets are blue, but nobody is as beautiful as you.
Aww.
Sending you lots of love and hope. Love and
And
I love
hope.
you.
Oh,
I know.
That's sweet.
She's 10.
Oh, bless her.
So she got me a Mother's Day card, but it's for someone that I think that's passed away or something. She picked the wrong card. At times
She
I
did
felt
it
wishing
on
we were
Mother's
here together or something like
Oh,
that. So yeah, so she's really cute. And she just, you know, yeah, I just feel so blessed to have her, really. We just went swimming together. We had some treats together, ate things we shouldn't have eaten. Well, I shouldn't have eaten
Sounds
anyway.
nice.
She was cool. And just kind of, I actually got her breakfast in bed. She loves breakfast in bed. She always has breakfast in bed.
Oh,
So she had like crumpets
really
and honey
sweet.
and butter and stuff.
Oh,
And
that's nice.
Opened the card together and I had my coffee and sat there with her. But yeah, it's been nice because I love spending Mother's Day with my daughter, but I would find it very hard spending Mother's Day with my mother. So Kay, I'll pass on to you and we can unpick that.
After the break.
Yeah.
I had a brilliant Mother's Day today. I was treated to breakfast in bed.
Lovely.
Beautiful coffee, hot crust buns.
Yum.
I wanted a little video collage instead of a card, and my God, Aaliyah blew it out of the water. It just captured our best moments together. And actually, they were random, so it's not like we were performing. Everybody was like, you two have too much fun together. You lot are so close. We are. And we laugh together. And she somehow manages to capture the quirks and I just loved it. I'm going to watch it for hours.
I have to say, I saw that.
Yeah.
She put it on status, didn't she?
She did
And
on
I loved it.
Instagram.
I haven't seen
It
it.
was so
I've
lovely.
loved it.
I really, really loved it.
Yeah, it's really, really lovely.
Really, really sweet.
And then we cooked together. And I don't normally like cooking. But man, I put my foot in that dinner today. It was so good. It's because I was happy. I potted some plants. I potted about. I did a report. I actually worked for a little bit today. And then she got me a little trophy that says #1 mum and filled it with sweets. I like
so
sweets.
cute.
That's so
Yeah.
sweet.
And the weirdest thing is yesterday we went out getting the last bits for Mother's Day because I am a grandmother, so this is a really special Mother's Day.
Yes,
Oh,
definitely.
My first one as a
congratulations.
grandmother.
Yes, that's right.
And so I went out to get my daughter-in-law something, and we separated, me and her. She went to buy my card and whatever else. We were literally in two different shops. Would you believe when we met up, we both picked up the same mug?
Oh, same.
I thought, oh, this would be nice for her. And she clearly thought the same. So she picked my favorite color, orange, and on it was powerful. And I picked up fierce for her.
Oh,
So it was
nice.
So nice.
So we drank from them this morning. And then on the way to recording, I stopped by and just, oh, good, my grandson. Honestly, I'm obsessed. He's beautiful. So actually, if 364 days of the year I complain about how hard work children are, this is the one day I won't.
Oh.
This is the one day I give thanks that I did have them. I feel very, very blessed. Very, very blessed.
And we
So
are really lucky. you
we
know?
are
We're really
you know.
blessed.
We are very, very blessed. And, I think about that a lot. I think about people who don't have what I have. And I just feel very, very grateful. And I make sure that I tell my children that. I think it's really, really important that they know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is so important, isn't it? They know. And yeah, I think, and we'll delve into it more after the break, but I think it's important to kind of be aware of people that would love to be mothers and can't be.
Yeah.
You know, we've all met people like that struggle so. And I was just thinking today, when I was taking my daughter swimming and there's somebody pregnant in there, somebody else with 2 children, and I'm there with my daughter. Like, what happened if you were there and you couldn't have children?
Yeah.
You know? How difficult that'd be to see us all in the pool splashing about and stuff. I don't know.
And mothers being celebrated so wildly and
Absolutely.
beautifully is hard.
I think it's hard. I worked with someone who was having IVF treatment. And I think how difficult today must be for her because they've been trying for quite some time.
Yeah.
Quite a few years.
Exactly.
And she's been unsuccessful.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think about people who are not able to have children and want to.
Yeah. And it's also a day for us to reflect on our own experience of being mothered.
Oh, yes.
I know we covered this in our pilot episode, but like Sarah, I wouldn't have wanted to particularly spend today with my mum.
No, thanks.
Not today. Not this Mother's Day.
No.
And that's new. It's a new experience. Normally I'm very excited to call her and speak to her on Mother's Day, but not this year. So our relationship is evolving and changing. But I chose today to focus on me being a mum.
Yes.
And being celebrated by my children.
Sure.
rather than think about, in the back of my mind, maternal relationship is challenging at the moment. And thankfully, it's in May there anyway, so I didn't have to today call and say Happy Mother's Day. But
it's different, isn't it?
It would have been a lot less meaningful. Yeah. So there are those, and we did our relationship series. A lot of women wrote in about difficult mother relationships.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah. So today also, I want to honor those women who have gone through those different difficult relationships. In fact, do we have time before the break? There is a poem that I came across on Instagram. The poet is Naria Waheed.
Oh, I love her.
Me too.
Amazing.
She is amazing. And I have saved it because I think it's coming in handy. If we don't have time before the break, I'll definitely read it after.
No, we do.
We do?
Minutes.
Okay. I'm going to quickly find it. When you have over 1,000 pictures in your phone, it's not so easy. But it's specifically for the women who have difficult mother relationships, whether resolved now or not.
If you've just joined us, we are Beautifully Melanated Podcast, and we are on Lightning Radio FM. So today we're talking about Mother's Day, and we are talking about our experiences in Mother's Day. So I was saying before the break that I had a fantastic Mother's Day. My children spoiled me, and I was very happy. And Kay was looking for a poem, and she's found it now. So off you go. Over to you, Kay.
So as we ended, I was saying about the daughters who wrote in to our relationship series, who had difficult relationships with their mothers, who didn't experience love and care. So this is Naria Waheed. Bless the daughters who sat carrying the trauma of mothers, who sat asking for more love and not getting any, carried themselves into the morning. Bless the daughters who were given the role of motherhood before they became women. Bless the daughters who raised themselves.
That's lovely. That's really beautiful. So, as I was saying, we are talking about Mother's Day today. If you've just joined us, this is Beautifully Melanated Podcast on Lightning Radio. So Kay has just read a beautiful poem. Who was it by?
Naria Waheed.
Right.
You can follow her on Instagram. So ladies, I'm always with a book. There is always a book for everything.
Definitely.
So for this episode, I've got the book My Mother, Myself by Nancy Friday. I have owned this book for about 15 years. And I have never successfully read it cover to cover. But I thought it might be important in the context of the mother-daughter relationship that we're talking about tonight. Don't know if you want me to jump in, Sarah, or you wanted to talk about your not wanting to be with your mum this Mother's Day.
Just briefly, there's nothing, I mean, I've covered it before in previous to episodes on our podcast and stuff, and briefly on here. So I'm an adopted adult now. And I have as I've got older, I've had quite a distant relationship with my mother. So it's quite difficult, actually, I think, Mother's Day for me, because I don't have a massive connection with my mother like I do my father. And this Mother's Day, I also got my mum chocolates and a card and stuff, but that's mainly for her. I'm a very honest person. I think sometimes I realize it gets me into trouble. I'm a very, very honest and authentic person. And I struggle deeply when I have to do things that are unaligned to my being. Deeply, but I feel my mother's 79 now. And I feel that I think it's, because she is elderly, it would do more harm than good for me to not honour Mother's Day for her. But I guess the way I look at it is I have such a blessing in my daughter and how close we are. And, I just think I just feel like I said before the break is we need to kind of think about the people that, aren't close to their mothers as well on Mother's Day. I mean, Father's Day is a bit different because it's not really celebrated as much, because obviously, I don't know, my daughter's school, for instance, Father's Day is not really celebrated because obviously some fathers are not there. A lot of fathers are not there, to be real. But mothers mainly are, mothers aren't always there. But I think society tells us that mothers are always there and fathers mainly are there, but sometimes aren't. So yeah, I don't know. I'd like to have done something. I'd like to have had a relationship with my birth mother or my adopted mother, one mother that I could have said Happy Mother's Day to and meant it authentically. Yeah, but I think also at the same time, you have to put to bed when you get to kind of, 40 plus, I think put to bed your relationship with your mother or your father, because I can't really see, knowing my mother's personality, how that's going to change for me. So I just enjoyed, it wasn't massive today. I went swimming with my daughter, which we always do on Sunday. So I had some treats to eat. We always spend time together. She gave me the card, and I just really felt today for people that, either have lost a parent or, really couldn't conceive a child, or I just felt for those people. I really felt for them, because it's a bit like Christmas. It's pushed in your face. Here's this wonderful mother figure. Oh, she's so wonderful. I'll celebrate her. I'll buy her things. But what happens if she doesn't? What happens if your mum abuses you? What happens if your mum, mum set you up? What happens if your mum is not there? Because you've never known your mum. What happens then? So yeah, I just think that has to be highlighted. That's my 2 pence.
Yeah. I agree. I'm going to read a little bit from the book. Now, I'm jumping pages, so you won't really follow in sequence, but it's something that really jumped out at me. The author says, there is real love between most mothers and daughters. There is real love between my mother and me. But it is not that kind of love she always led me to believe she felt, which society told me she felt, and about which I have always been angry and guilty. Angry because I never really felt it. Guilty because I thought the fault lay in me. If I were a better daughter, I would be able to take in this nourishing love that she had always told me was there. I have recently found I could get angry with mother, and that it would not destroy her or me. The anger that separated me from her also put me in touch with the real love I have for her. I have heard daughters say that they do not love their mothers. I have never heard a mother say she does not love her daughter. Psychoanalysts have told me that a woman patient would rather consider herself crazy than admit that she simply does not like her daughter. She can be honest about anything else, but the myth that mothers always love their children is so controlling that even the daughter who can admit to disliking mother, when her own time comes, will deny all but positive emotions towards her children. What do we think of that?
Oh, I don't know.
True. I think that's quite true.
There are times when I don't like my children.
Yes.
But I never, ever, ever stop loving them. They're different. So my eldest went through a bit of a phase as a teenager, as they often do. And my youngest, no exception. Slightly longer phase, perhaps. But I never not love them. But I do think it's okay to, do I ever tell them that I don't like them? No, not in those words. But I guess we have conversations or we talk about the behavior, not the child. It's the behavior.
Right, not liking the behavior.
Yeah. So I say, it's the behavior that I don't like, not my children. Yeah. But there are times when they are unpleasant. Absolutely. Yes. And there are also times when they find me irritating and controlling and all those things. And that's all normal. I guess what we're talking about here, though, are those severed relationships that you are both sort of talking about. You're talking about, difficult relationships for one, for a myriad of different reasons. And yeah, it is hard because I think that, the sort of expectation is that every mother loves their child. And there are people who've experienced, postnatal depression, when they've had a really difficult time. Right. And there is a time where you just don't feel that connect or that bond to your child. So for all sorts of reasons, like we had our guest on Eileen, didn't we? We talked a lot about her relationship with her mum and her relationship with her daughter, which, she openly says is severed. Yeah. And that's for, lots of reasons. But I think we just have to remember that sometimes these things come in fits and waves. I don't think we necessarily dislike somebody all the time. I think there are probably times when things are better than others. And feelings are fleeting often. You know, some people have, you know, long-standing, difficult relationships. Sometimes, like I say, it goes and comes, right? Depending on, I think you've openly talked about that, haven't you, Kay? That sometimes, you know, things are a little bit more tricky than others.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think it would be really helpful to hear a little bit more about your experiences, and if you could share that, because I'm sure there are people listening who are in, you know, in similar situations. I have to say for myself, I feel I'm just very, very lucky. I'm very, very lucky that I have an amazing relationship with my mum.
Yeah.
We're very, very close. You know, I sent her a bunch of flowers via Interflora.
Oh,
and
lovely.
she called to say she got them and they were lovely, and you know, and I do that every year. And I'm just sad that I can't be closer to my mum geographically. We live sort of 3-4 hours apart, M25 permitting. And like today, my whole family went out for a meal, and like the table stretched, I think, the entire length of the restaurant, because I've got so many members of my family who want to celebrate that with mum. We're on a group chat this morning, and on the group chat, they were all saying, oh, you know, who's going to pick mum up? Who's going to take mum to the restaurant? And, you know, eventually mum got a lift, but she is at the center of our lives. You know, we're very, very close, as I've said before. And there's nothing my mum wouldn't do for me. There is no one on the planet who loves me like my mum. It doesn't matter what partner I have, who, you know, my husband is, even my children. No one will love me the way that my mum loves me. I know that. Wow. And she is 82. She'll be 82 in August. And so my next thought really is, I just want to cherish her as much as I can, because I don't know how long I'm going to have her.
Never know. You never know.
I just don't know, do I?
No, never know.
She went through a really difficult time. She had, she was poorly. She had a life-threatening illness, actually. And I'm so grateful to God that she was cured. And that, you know, she's okay. She's in remission now. She's fine. But every day is precious, isn't it? So we talk a lot. I don't see her as much as I'd like to. Like I say, we are sort of geographically, you know, not close. But yeah, I just, you know, my mum is everything. And I know that not everyone can say that. Not everyone has that relationship, which is why I'm saying I just feel incredibly blessed. It is a blessing, and I am very, very lucky. And my children are close to their grandmother. There's nothing she wouldn't do for them either. You know, she's amazing. She's like the, you know, the world's amazing nan. Yeah. And so I have happy thoughts when I think about my mum. And I think my guilt is that because I don't live close to her, logistically it's difficult, right? So my guilt is that I'm not there enough. And I do, and like that really bothers me, because I think I'm wasting valuable time not seeing her. And so, that's something I really do battle with. I think often, do I go home? Should I sell up?
Yeah.
And go back so that I can be closer to her, so my children can be, but then, you know, my kids are in school, and I mean, I can get a job anywhere. To be fair. But my children have been raised here, their lives are here. And then it makes me feel quite selfish sometimes. I feel quite, I do feel, especially when she was poorly.
Right.
Because my siblings were looking after her and I wasn't.
Right.
You know, they were there, they were doing this, you know, I did this for mum, I did that for mum. I'm like, I'll be down at the weekend, and it just seemed like my efforts paled in comparison. I felt, there's a lot of guilt for me not being there physically with her. So we talk a lot on the phone. I mean, there's a period of time where I called my mum every day. Wow. In fact, now, do you know, the other day she called me, and I don't know what I was doing. I was doing something, I think it was, I don't know, in the kitchen or whatever. And she called like 3 times until she got me. It's like, Mum, I was going to call you back. She said, oh, do you know what? I was just worried about you. Like, honestly, like, how old am I? She's like that now. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. Did I disturb? I said, no, it's okay. Should I? You know, I was just really worried. I'm like, Mum.
Wow.
Come on. I was in the kitchen.
Yeah, like you don't call your daughters, and when you don't get them, you think they're lying in a ditch somewhere.
I know, that's it. And for my mum, it will always be like that. It doesn't matter how old I am.
Like that.
My mum is, she's
calling.
a warrior, I tell you. She's such a lioness mum. She is absolute lioness mum. There is nothing that woman wouldn't do for her kids.
Yeah.
Like, she is in there. So, yeah, that's my experience of my mum.
You know, when we did this at the beginning of the year, for those listeners who are new to who's new to a podcast, find my English here. We did a series on child development, and we talked about attachment, and it's really worth listening to. It's a 5-parter. And I said then that my attachment style is ambivalent, and it is with my parents, but recently I've really had to examine my relationship with my mother, because although I live here and she lives there, I always felt connected to her. I always looked forward to calling her. We would chat about everything, what's changed in the neighborhood, who's moved, who's died, blah, blah. You know, it's like I hadn't left home. But since lockdown, I'm seeing a very different side to her. And it could be old age. It could be early onset dementia. I don't know. But it's like her personality has completely changed. And I'm struggling with it. And I'm questioning, so when I was younger and thought she loved me and would do anything for me, was that true? I'm questioning everything now, because at the moment, I am not the daughter she wants. And I have never been more myself. So I can't reconcile that with love. Because for as long as I was going to church, being a good girl, whatever, then she was close and attachment was possible. But now that I'm seeing that our paths are divergent and they will never converge again, because I have no inclination or desire to pretend to please her. The conditions of worth. I will love you if. I can't see us bridging that gap that's now come between us, because I will be me. I didn't come here to live my life for her. I'm nearly 50. So really, I've given at least 48 years to her, to make her happy, to make her proud of me. At what point do I start living for myself and be the woman that I want to be?
You.
Yeah, and do what I came here to do. So different to how I am with my daughter. You know, I don't expect her to live my life, the life I had for her in my mind. The fantasy baby, the fantasy teenager, the fantasy young adult. We all have them. From you're pregnant, you start fantasizing about what your babies are going to be, what your children are going to be, and how they're going to change the world. Or maybe that's just me. But very soon you realize their personality and you're like, yeah, that's not going to happen. That's what I wanted. So she's not going to do university. 10 years ago, I just couldn't imagine it. I'm like, oh, but you must go to university. We all go to university in my family. No. I took her to get her first tattoo done.
Times have changed, I think,
it's
haven't
her
they?
body.
Yeah.
I'm allowing her to claim herself in a way I wasn't allowed to. So that's why our relationship is so close. And I value that. But my mum, maybe generationally, she'll never, accept me as I am, which is difficult in itself. So that's why this Mother's Day, I would not have wanted to spend it with her, because I would think you're going to wind me up.
Do you mind if I jump in here?
No,
Sarah?
go. No, I have
I've
nothing.
just, it's thought-provoking, actually, what you just said. So, first of all, I think I would just like to say, I'm sorry to hear that things have been, difficult between you and your mum. That's never easy, is it? Because I think as children, we want our parents' approval. We want their love,
absolutely.
unconditional, don't we? So that's really hard in itself. I work with lots of families at school, as I've said before, and often parents have their own views, or they have their own ideas about how a child should be, right? And for some communities, for some cultures, it's almost like a parental right, that you sacrifice yourself or, your time, your money, whatever it is, and you nurture these children, and therefore they should come out to do what you want them to do, right? So I have lots of students who come in, they are sort of riddled with anxiety because they are trying to achieve these grades that parents have insisted that, they should get because they want them to study law or medicine or whatever else it is, because they didn't get to do that when they were young, and they're sort of living precariously through their children, right?
Vicariously.
Yeah, sorry.
Because precariously is slightly
slightly different. Sorry, vicariously through their children. Thank you. Yeah. And so that is a real issue for a lot of students. They it just feels like pressure. And so the thing that I try to say to parents is, you do have an idea of what you want your child to be or you would like them to do, but you have to remember it is their lives.
That's right.
I think somehow coming to a bit of a happy medium, somewhere in the middle, where you do have to have boundaries, you do have to have standards, but there are some things you have to let go. Otherwise, you risk losing that child.
Yeah.
And that's what's really, really hard. So I think for your mum, her values or her Christian views or her religion or whatever it is are so strong that she's really worried that you won't get to heaven, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So so I suppose really it's like having an understanding of why, where that's coming from. Why is she saying these things? Why does she feel that way? Is it because she is, unkind, doesn't want me to succeed? Or is it because that is really in her heart what she believes? And therefore it's almost as if she can see you falling into
being lost.
Yeah, being lost and falling into a deep hole that she can't save you from. And she wants to save you.
Yes. So
I'm not saying it makes it right, and I can understand how difficult that is for you, but I think that is what is so tricky about parenting. I have my own ideas about what I would like for my children. I mean, for another example, I work with students again who perhaps are questioning their gender or they're questioning their identity, they're questioning their sexuality.
Yeah.
I happen to believe that they are hormonal girls in an all-girls school, and therefore they're experimenting, and they don't really know, do they? Right? But sometimes they'll say, I think I'm gay.
Right.
Now, I've heard a mum say, if that is the case, my child would have to leave my house. There is no way.
Come on.
No. There are people who say that. Yes, because
I grew up with that nonsense. I thought we were past that.
But I'm saying for some people, and the thing is, I'm really careful not to belittle that, people and how they feel and their view. Because for them, it is real. For them, they are not coming from a place of just being flippant about it. Like, for them, this would be a problem because it goes against everything they believe in, everything that they...
True.
And so I try to remove my graces, and I have to think, okay, this person, this is coming from their core, right?
And that's who they go home to as well, isn't it? So it's important to try and work with that parent.
It's important to work with that parent. I can't just go in and say, really, at this day and age?
Otherwise they could just sever everything.
Absolutely. This is real for them. This is, for whatever reason, that is how they feel. And we have to come up with some sort of, meet in the middle, where both child and parent are happy. So I do try to work with parents and say, look, I hear what you're saying, but your child is experimenting, they're growing. The point is we have to allow our children sometimes to go away from us to then come back.
That's right. That's right.
That's hard. It's hard letting go. It's hard.
It is.
It's hard, accepting that your children won't be. I remember when my youngest stopped wearing dresses. That was like, honest, no, I kid you not, it was traumatic.
I love her leggings. She's never not really a dressy girl.
I used to love getting all dressed up, ribbons in the hair.
Oh, no.
All right, that's a bit of that. Right? That's a bit of an exaggeration.
I hate all that.
Oh, my God.
I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean, right? So little sandals and her dresses, and I could dress her because that's what I did.
Yeah.
I was mum, and I could go and buy whatever I liked. Then she got to an age where she was like, I don't want to wear that. What? You don't need to wear this dress.
My daughter now, I will not buy anything without her looking at it first. She will not wear anything.
And she's only
unless,
10?
Yeah, 10. She I want to wear sort of like black and like dark navy blue. And God.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I wouldn't buy anything without her looking at it first now. Pink is out.
Is out, exactly,
yeah.
right? I think we lost Pink some time ago. But my point is...
I haven't. I feel smug.
There comes a point where you as a parent, your influence starts to decrease, doesn't it? Right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the influence of outside peers and social media and whatever else starts to be more important than your influence.
That happens in adolescence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's that transition, isn't it? And it's watching your child kind of go in another direction and you can see, and it feels, I suppose, for some people as if they're slipping away from you. Like you're losing them in a way.
Yeah, I hear that.
And that's hard
of course.
for some people. And the thing is, you're very open-minded with your children, perhaps because of the way that you were raised. You're very open-minded. You're very accepting. Now, for some people, that's hard because they have really, really quite specific views about what their life and what is right. I mean, I've got close friends who've said the same thing to me, that if their child came out, that relationship would come to an end.
And that's coming from a biblical or cultural ideology?
Maybe both.
See, for me, this is a fundamental flaw with religion, is that the idea that everyone can fit into one set of beliefs and everybody is going to be one way is insane. It is not possible. So if as a parent you choose Christianity and you believe homosexuality is wrong, for instance, that's your belief. And give thanks that you are heterosexual, because if you were actually gay, you would be in turmoil. To then say to your child, you have to be this way, or I'm going to reject you, that is not loving. That says I want to control you, and my love is conditional upon you being heterosexual, smart, overachieving, etc., etc. And if you can't do that, then my love is going to be withdrawn, but withdrawn in such a way that I will put you in danger. You can't even be safe in my house. You have to go somewhere else. But where is someone else? Where's somewhere else? Where will they go?
Well, I guess so I'm thinking about the people that I'm working with, right? You might have a parent who says they're not going to necessarily put them out, but it just means that that child can't practice anything other than what is accepted in the home until they leave.
Yeah.
But then they would say that to the children who are heterosexual too. How many families would allow heterosexual children to bring their boyfriends or girlfriends in the house and openly practice sexual activity?
That's true.
They're not going to do it.
That's true.
So it shouldn't really matter what their sexual orientation is. If your house rule is no sex in my house, then that should be across the board.
But you might be able to have a boyfriend over or know that your daughter has a boyfriend at, say, 18. 17. Well, you know
Sarah
what I mean?
would say 14.
Well, you know what I mean, though, right? So, say, for example, 14,
Don't
15,
use my
16,
family because
17.
you know the score with that.
Yeah. You accept that your daughter has a boyfriend, they talk on the phone, whatever, but you're just, okay, they can't practice anything in the house, but...
Just practice outside the house.
Yeah.
Well...
And they will.
Unless they're me.
Let's say I have to say that you are a rarity. Most people, you are an anomaly, Karen. Most people will be driven by what they want to do with their boyfriend or girlfriend versus their parents.
Well, okay.
Most people would. Most honestly, listeners, you can message it. Most people would go by what their needs are versus their mother. They would. I
don't even think it was my mum. I think it's what she instilled in me. So therefore, it wasn't like it was her. It was, I just held myself at the time in such high esteem that I didn't want to violate myself.
I didn't think it was a violation. It wasn't a violation though, because I wanted that.
But it felt like a violation to me if it wasn't done what I considered to be properly.
But I did it properly. I wrote it in my little diary when I was 14.
To you.
He came over, they lit the candles round the bed, and we said, I'm ready. This is what I want to do.
That's what I'm saying. So for you, that was right for you.
It wasn't right. I was way too young.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but in your mind
it was planned,
But for me,
consensual.
Yeah, it wasn't in the park or McDonald's toilet.
No.
Well,
it was candles lit.
Absolutely.
In a guest bedroom.
Oh, how sweet. She says that with such pride.
Listeners, we do not promote underage sex.
We do
the
not.
age of consent is 16.
That's right.
It remains so.
That's right.
But what I'm saying is, it's whatever was deemed right to you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if my mum said it would be right and proper to wait until a certain time, I believed her.
My God.
I just
did.
can't. But you might have believed her, but your body would have been like, I believe my mum, but my...
I don't know. It just did. I guess what did happen though was when I did reach the age,
Think of mum at that point.
and then I felt free, like I could,
Yeah.
Okay.
and then I was happy to. Do you know what I mean? Because it was at the age that I don't know. Because I don't know. Yeah,
I've just never met in my 41 years, Karen. I've never met anyone like you. That way.
Is that a good thing?
It's different. It's different.
I would say my daughter comes a close second, but she's not doing it because of me. Yeah. She's doing it because of her.
That's different.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I think it became like that. It almost became. It's like with my eldest. I feel as if it's not as if I've said no, but I probably have. But I feel as if my views, my values have rubbed off on her to the point that we kind of think similarly.
Okay.
And that's what happened with my mum. I adopted her values and they became mine.
They became yours. Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
As opposed to if I didn't believe in her values and I thought it was a load of gobbledygook, then I would have done it anyway. But that wasn't the case.
What if you were gay? Could you have told your mum?
Do you know, we never had that conversation. To be fair, my mum's the kind of person that I think she's so accepting. I don't think it would have been an issue. Would she have been? I imagine there would have been some disappointment because we're going back years now, aren't we? Right. So when I was young, yes, that would have been disappointing. I don't know how my dad would have reacted, if I'm honest. Maybe my dad would have taken that differently, but I think my mum is very, very loving and very accepting, even if she didn't like it.
Yeah.
I think she wouldn't. I don't believe she would ever disown me for anything. I can't imagine her doing that.
Yeah.
But like I say, there are some families where that just would not be accepted. It just isn't part of. It's almost like having a bit of a, you know what I mean when I say a schema, where you're, it just doesn't fit. It just can't comprehend.
Yeah.
And
I question whether those people should become mothers and fathers, because motherhood is quite a responsibility. We've talked about that before. You have a whole human that you're going to care for and raise and hopefully love and nurture into maturity. The point at which you lose sight of that they are their own person and they did not come into the world to be an extension of you or fulfill your own unfulfilled desires,
right,
then you are becoming harmful. So you might have a belief that homosexuality is wrong. I'm going to stick with this topic. But if your child is gay, at what point do you accept that they're gay?
So I think for some people, in the end, they do. Sometimes in the end, they might say,
never.
They've come round. It was difficult for them at the time, but they've come round. For some people, never. For some people, they might say, "I will talk to my child. We have a relationship, but I don't ever want to meet the partner. I never want to see it. I don't want anything to do with it." No, to do with their relationship. I'm calling not the person, the relationship. Yeah. Or their choice.
And they wouldn't go to their weddings.
They wouldn't go to the wedding and that. So I guess you have lots of people who deal with the situation in lots and lots of different ways. There are various degrees, I think, of sort of inclusion or what would be accepting.
I think the thing is, though, because we work, I mean, I know myself, working in a school forever and a day before my job now, is I've seen what damage it does to people when they're not allowed to be themselves. I'm just a very open person. I would have no problem if my daughter was gay. I have no issue with that. If they're over the age of consent, they can bring their partner back. I don't care about that, but I just want her to be happy. Yeah. I just want her to be well, to be mentally well, and I think the insight is, I mean, yes, I am a very open-minded person anyway. My birth mother is gay. She's been a lesbian forever, so I just don't care. But the thing is, I think working around so many people that are not able to be themselves gives me, or probably you guys the same, kind of what's the word? Kind of view into when people can't express themselves and people can't come out, I just would never want that for my daughter. I would never want her to feel that she can't be herself, and I just want her to be happy. So
I think that's the thing, right? Look, when I talk about this isn't my personal view. I'm talking about it from the point of people that I work with, right?
True, yes, true.
And I see, lots of different sides to the same thing. So I see the children who are frustrated because they can't open up and just be themselves. I mean, I work with children who are transgender.
Yeah.
That's another really, really difficult thing to say to your family.
Yes.
Right.
Because parents sometimes so want to have their little girl because I mean, for example, a parent has got one daughter. And they have dreams and hopes that this daughter will get married one day and have children.
That's right.
She can still do that with a woman.
Not saying that she can't.
So they've got the picture they wanted to hang on the mantelpiece.
No. No, it's not.
It's not what they envisage.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
And sometimes, I mean, if that child is transitions then and becomes a boy, that's a whole nother level. And also, you have to remember, we are practitioners, right?
That's right. I'm saying,
we are counselors. We work with children and young people. We have studied. We've researched. We are educated. We come to this with a whole wealth of knowledge and understanding of lots of different things. You have to remember there are lots and lots of people who don't have those things.
That's why I think that's what I'm saying to Karen. It gives us the inside edge, if that makes sense. So we're going to be more accommodating, aren't we?
Absolutely. We're completely different people. You're talking about people who have gone to, I know that you've gone to church, but you've also got education. You've also got, you're an affluent woman, you're professional, you're all those other things. So that's what I'm trying to say. When I work with families, I have to strip away all of those graces because I've got to meet the person where they are. Yeah. And if for this person, it is damning and damaging and is heartbreaking, then that's what it is for them.
Yes, that's right.
And I have to think about, how do I support this family so I can accommodate everyone so the child gets what they need and parents, are not faced with losing their child.
I don't know how that's possible, to be honest with you. I don't know how it's possible because for the people that I've come into kind of contact with, and mainly they are religious, that I do not accept that. They are never, ever, ever, Karen, never in a million years, the people I know are going to accept that child being gay. Never, ever, ever, ever. There is nothing.
So that declaration of love is as the author says in the book. You say you love me, but you don't really.
Don't. They might love the child, but they're never going to go, yes, it's okay. It's all right. You bring your girlfriend back or something. They're never, ever, ever. They're never going to go, yes, I accept you. Nope.
What about, though, if they didn't say, yes, that's okay, and yes, it's all right, and yes, I accept you? What about, is there nothing else they can say? Is there like a happy medium where you can get to, I hear that this is your choice. It's not something that I'm happy with. It's not something I would have wanted for you, but I still love you.
Yes, that's,
I agree, somehow we can, I think that there's another way. Is what I'm trying to say. I don't think it has to be all or nothing.
No, I agree. I think, I can't imagine how it must be for people because I can't imagine not accepting my daughter.
I know. I can't imagine not loving my daughter.
No,
I just cannot.
But I do know talking to people like that I've heard them.
Yeah, and I don't think it's that they don't love their daughter.
No,
I think they don't love
or their son.
Or the son. I think they don't love the act. They don't love the
act? Let's
lifestyle.
Talk about that. Because they don't love the act. Are we talking about sex?
I would, yeah.
Not even just that, I think.
Because
just
why
a man
are we
being
in
with
their bedrooms? When it comes to heterosexuals, let me just finish the point. When it comes to heterosexuals, we like to tell ourselves they fall in love is a beautiful thing. And we imagine it's a romantic exchange when they become lovers and it's beautiful. And if they're married, then it's God ordained, right? You don't spend time in their bedrooms. But the minute the word gay relationships, whether it's women, men, man, comes into it, all people are fixated with is their sex life, as if they don't have the capacity to love too. They do love. And not all of them are promiscuous, and all the stereotypes about gayness and homosexuality is just that. It's a stereotype. They can love. What I would want for my children is to learn how to love and to be in a relationship that fulfills them and they feel loved and cared for by their person, whichever gender they are.
Respected as well.
I'm not going to be in their bedrooms wondering what they're doing, saying, I don't want to be a part of your lifestyle. What? I wouldn't say that to my straight child. Why would I say that to my gay child?
I don't think anybody would actually say that. That was just
I
my...
grew up hearing that, people would literally say, I'd rather kill you.
Wow.
If my son is gay, I'd rather kill him.
And I suppose for me, so a lot of it is about education. A lot of it for me is just talking to parents. I mean, I've got parents who don't even accept that their children have ASC.
I know.
You know,
I know they tell you they don't believe in it.
They don't believe in it. I kid you not.
Yeah,
Look, I'm talking about families who don't believe in an autistic diagnosis.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, talking about gender identity and sexuality, that's on a whole nother level.
But I think there's just no point after a part. Just like, oh God.
But that's my job.
Yeah. That's your job.
This is what I do. That's what I do for a living, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is I hear what you're saying, and I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying that there is a whole wealth of other ideas out there.
I think it's important to find different ways, like you said, to talk to somebody.
Absolutely.
Because those people are not ever going to think, oh, it's okay. Actually, some may, but mostly they probably will be like, oh. So I think to say I love you, it isn't my choice, but I still love you. That's really important.
Yeah, I think that's really as much as I really hope to get from that parent.
Right. So maybe that's something we can speak about another time, ladies. The Black community is really, really rejecting of any sexuality other than heterosexually.
Yes.
Yep.
And it's really problematic because these are the clients Sarah and I will see in our one-to-one work who are psychologically very damaged by an ideology that says they're sinful, they're an abomination, they're going to go to hell, they're not what God wants them to be, and that is attacking a child's core self. Yes. If you're saying, God, I'm made in God's image, but I'm also an abomination because I love someone of my same gender, then again, that isn't love. That is something else, but it's not love.
And also, I mean, sometimes parents will want to pray over it.
Yeah.
They will want to cure it, fix it. Because to them, that's what is needed. And they are, I imagine it's coming from a place of love.
That's the thing, because if you haven't grown up in this country, we've got to put that on another spin.
That's it.
If you've grown up in another country where, you know, that is not acceptable, no way in hell, and you've learned that, you know, your mother, your grandmother told you must pray over it, that's what you'll do in this country.
That's what you'll do. That's
and
what
you
you'll
can't
do.
blame someone for doing it, because that's what they did back in the
they will
country
light
they
them candles.
first were born in. So you can't tell them otherwise.
I say it in jest. No, that's what I'm saying.
Because otherwise, like someone
100%.
telling us otherwise about recording this show,
And
telling us otherwise.
Absolutely.
It's like, sorry, excuse me.
Excuse
They're like,
me?
no, this isn't right. You've done it all wrong.
Exactly.
Like, what?
And I think for me, I always say to parents, I am not here to tell you how to parent. But what I am here to do is ensure that I'm safeguarding your child. And if your parenting is impacting negatively your child's mental health or emotional well-being, that is why we're having a conversation.
Yeah,
outside of that, you do what you like. But, and then when I come from that place, they're like, okay, they'll listen. Because what parents don't realize as well is that if your child's emotional well-being and mental health is impaired, they are less likely to achieve academic success.
Yeah, of course.
Because of two-handed.
That's right.
But you
That's right.
know, and even that is a conversation I have to have with parents because they don't realize that. They just think, you know, all the tuition in the world will.
That's like
fix
schools
this.
then, like most schools think.
Yeah.
You know, Johnny can go in and take his maths exam, but forget the fact that Johnny's mum was beaten up last night and he's
Exactly. And I suppose, yes.
ridiculous. He's got to take his coat off. It's just.
So I do a lot of work with teachers around that as well. You know,
Have you ever had a child say to you, I hate my mother? Or do you know of children
I've had loads of things to say that to my mother.
who might not be celebrating their mothers today?
I have children who are suicidal because of those things. God, yeah. I have children who,
Wow.
Yeah.
And so at no point does a mother's love and attachment supersede an ideology. I'm really struggling with that. In the same way, my mom, like you said, Karen, that's her belief. You know, she genuinely believes I'm going to be lost. And it distresses her. But at some point, she has to accept, I am not her. I am me. And I can take responsibility for my salvation, so to speak. I don't need her to peel her knees off praying for me because I'm not going to change.
Maybe she can't do that though, okay? Maybe she can never accept that.
I think she can't. I think you're right. She can never accept that I'm so different to her.
Yeah.
And where did she go wrong? You know, she raised me in the church and invested in my Christian education, all privately paid for. Where did she go wrong? That's exactly where she went wrong because she didn't allow me to have a choice. And if she had allowed me to have a choice at 6, 10, all the times I questioned her and the faith, which clearly didn't align with me, then we wouldn't be here now suffering, because she would realize, okay, this one is not going to be the Christian.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And I think it's really hard for lots of, I think I mentioned this last time, I can't remember how many weeks ago, but I was talking about other communities. So say, for example, the Chinese community, I don't know a lot about that community, if I'm honest, but I know that for lots of people, the children's success is seen as their success.
Oh, yes.
All right. So if your child's a doctor or, lawyer, I don't know, whatever, they've gone on to do, their accolades are your accolades.
Yes.
And, that's really important, to the point that a lot of the children wouldn't dream of going against it, because it's just so ingrained,
right.
it's so embedded that's just the expectation. The expectation is that you grow up and then you look after your parents in their old age, because they have given you everything, and therefore you give that back.
That's right.
And it's just a done thing. A lot of those children dare not go outside of their family's cultural beliefs because it's just, and they just don't question it.
Yeah.
So when I do have a child from a community such as that, I find that it's even more difficult, because they're really going against the grain, and there are so few of them who sort of, take a different path, that it's even harder.
Yeah.
So as I say, I do work with a diverse sort of cohort of children, and that has happened. I've met children from, like I say, these communities where it's really, really not the done thing at all.
Yeah. And perhaps we can have a mindset shift. I don't know. In terms of what it means to be a mother or a father. I mean, this one thing that caught my eye this week, and I can't find it now, was a podcast, a snippet from a podcast, all men. And the host was adamant that single mothers are the reason for so much disruption and chaos and stress in society.
Wow.
Single mothers are not accountable for their behaviors. Single mothers are raising children who don't know how to behave. I mean, it was egregious, and I could have just smashed my phone.
Oh, wow.
So who is making these women single mothers?
Exactly.
We cannot impregnate ourselves.
That's a good point. Why was he so outraged? What was his
outrage? I don't know. Maybe
his ex. His ex pissed him off.
Maybe he hates his mother, who maybe his mother was a single mother. I don't know. But it was offensive beyond. And he really, people did check him. But I'm like, I'm a single mother. It wasn't by choice, but I am. I don't think I'm the reason why society is in turmoil. I really don't.
That's right. That's his issues, isn't it? Deeply.
Yeah.
Wow. I'd love to hear what his issues are, though. Like, what is he saying that we are guilty of?
Not raising children well, and not being accountable enough by not choosing our partners well. And then we choose men who are going to leave us and make us single mothers, and it's all our fault.
But people separate all the time.
Yes.
Divorce,
Yeah, they do.
That's,
they do.
People separate all the, whether you've got children or not. I
You say
imagine.
1 in 2 now. 1 in 2.
Really?
Yeah.
So 50%?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, that's high. That's really
1 in
high.
2 marriages end in divorce, they said, yeah.
Wow. Does it give like a time frame within the first
I
whatever?
have no idea.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I think if you probably survive after about, I would think if you survive 10 years, 15 years, I imagine there's more hope, no?
Mine survived 16.
I have no idea.
So
really?
Year 7 and year
Okay.
12 are the itch years.
Right.
Ah.
When the itch, and if you scratch,
Yeah, makes
it
sense.
ends
Yeah.
it.
Ah,
Mine
that's
ended at
interesting.
12, so.
Well, I went to 16, like I said.
Yeah, so my relationship ended 13 years, so kind of.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get to like 30 years, and then you're right. You're just sick of each other. But you're not going to leave each other at that point. So
Exactly.
got to 80, I'm stuck with you, mate. Until death. There's no point in doing anything now.
I think often though, I've seen couples have been together for that long and they do look really happy. Like when they, they've got their, I don't know what you call it, their golden anniversary.
Oh yeah, my
whatever it
granny
is.
had
Yeah.
that golden wedding. She
Yeah,
had.
yeah, that kind of thing. They usually love each other by then.
At that point, I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Took
I think
50
also
years.
there's kind of acceptance, isn't there? There's acceptance that when everything else has faded and gone,
Yeah.
I
They
can
have
read
each
a book
other.
over there. You can listen to music
Yeah.
over there. We'll
Yeah.
eat together and talk.
Yeah.
And that's
Company,
all we
isn't it?
really need at this point because we're pushing 80 plus.
Yeah.
But there's some wild 80-year-olds having the time of their lives.
I will be.
I will be, but I'm going to have some fun. I'm not going to sit in a rocking chair going, oh, I'm waiting for death. Oh.
You have to find me. There's a
Wow.
whole world to explore.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
There's I've got a friend that she works as a carer, and she was talking about this, old man sitting in a chair all day and talking about people kind of, just kind of rotting away or kind of just walking around alone. And a lot of those people, she said in this talk, they've been like that since they were young. They've got something in them. It's not just getting old.
Right.
Some of those people have been quite lonesome when they were younger as well. So I think we've got to remember that not all old people get, miserable in this country. Some people like that when they're younger.
You probably will be.
My auntie is about 84. I think she's 84. And she has a boyfriend.
Oh,
She
I
said,
that.
I don't want to live with him.
How old is he? 70 or something?
I'm not sure. But she says, I don't want to live with him.
Yeah.
And she visits him and he visits her. She has a boyfriend.
Yeah.
A kid, you.
I love that.
I'm telling you. And my auntie is hot.
I've seen your mum, so yes, she's like your mum.
I love that. I absolutely love that for her.
Seriously.
my-
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I want to live with him at that point. It gets to that point, like lived alone that long, and then suddenly
No, but
he's
they've been
coming
together for a long time.
along. Have
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, long time. I mean, I met him. I was about 11
Right.
Wow.
when I met
Wow.
him. Yeah. And she just kept it like that. She said, no, I've been
My
married before. I
woman.
don't want that. You're my boyfriend. I'll come and see you when I
She's my
want to.
hero. She's my heroine right now.
I love that.
I'll have to show you my aunt. I'll show you a picture of her. But my aunt's hot. She's hot.
Yeah, there we go.
84. I'm telling you.
84 and
Slay.
still has a boyfriend. Slaying. I love it.
84. She has to share some. She has to share some of her secrets.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
Karen.
Yeah. I want some of what she's got. Whatever,
Yeah,
whatever
Straight
she's
up,
having, I want
some
some.
of it. So yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge single mothers today as well, ladies, because we get a bad rap for no good reason. I do not understand it. But single mothers, the Conservative Party, I'll never forget when they came into power in 2008 or 9, I think, and one of their election manifesto was getting single women off benefits. Single mothers are the problem. Single mothers are the reason why our system is in chaos. What? So yeah, shout out to the single mothers who are
big
doing
time,
it day
man.
in, day out. And
Absolutely.
themselves,
Absolutely.
the emotional, the spiritual, the physical, the lot.
The lot.
On
yeah,
their
everything,
own.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
I suppose I'm shouting us out as well then, isn't it?
That's right.
I think that there should be, well, let me put this as a question. Should there be more of a push to find the fathers of these children and insist that they financially contribute to the upbringing of their children? So is it the CSA? Was it called
CSA.
the CSA? isn't it?
CSA,
That's
yeah,
right,
yeah.
right?
I push someone I know got £6 the other day.
Yeah, they don't chase hard. They don't chase hard. Yeah, they don't.
What was that, a week or like, what was that? £6 for
A
what?
week.
£600 a week.
I was
Yeah.
like, how on earth am I going to spend this?
There's no point. If they're on benefits, you won't get anything. There's no point.
Oh, really?
There's no point.
Or they're deliberately
not working,
keep
something.
themselves out of work.
Yeah, there's no point.
Wow.
Or
Really?
they work on and off.
You
So let's say you work for 3
deliberately
months.
not work?
Yes.
Oh yeah, people will.
Deliberately not
Yes.
work so you don't have to pay for your kids? What?
They don't work, and then when the CSA catches up with them because maybe 3 months of a rolling income, then they'll go unemployed again, or they'll go under the radar, or they'll work cash in hand, and then
No,
they'll say,
they need a slap.
Yeah, they need slap from Will Smith. Is ready. Will Smith is going to come to Kent and slap all these dads
slap
that
'em.
aren't paying their way.
I mean, should that be the focus as opposed to trashing single mums? Should the focus be on dads who father these children who
and
are
can't be
not
asked to pay for them.
financially supporting their kids?
Yeah. And
I think
if you
that's-
have 6 baby mothers, sterilize. Stop it. I see some man post what you call it, a dating profile. I mean, he looks hard. He has 22 children. This is his dating profile.
That's not my
This
my
is
mum's
his
dad.
dating profile, and he thinks it's a flex. And in the bracket where it says, "What are you good at?" He goes, "I know my way around a woman's body."
Well done, you.
Right?
This is a joke. This is a joke.
No, black
This
man.
is a
as
man
well.
on a profile.
Yeah,
He
so on
actually-
Twitter, he had a dating profile
Oh my
out,
god!
and he's got 22 children.
I thought someone you were matched with.
No. I'm not online dating. But can you imagine 22 children and you're still looking woman? The guy's 46.
He's going to be going till he's 90-something, isn't he?
But that's such a turn off, though, because like, who's going to go? Oh,
People will. There's people that will love
swipe
that.
left. Is it left? I don't know.
I'd swipe you across your face as well. Stop it.
Some women will be like, yes, you know the people that are hankering for a child that really want to,
I don't
He's
know.
got
though.
22.
That's really
At
off-putting.
46, 22, that's disgusting. I felt nasty.
Yeah, that's 22 at 40. That's just too much. Like, you've got a problem if you've got that.
But single
22.
mothers are the problem.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're the ones impregnating ourselves out here in
That's
these
it.
streets.
That's right.
That is shocking.
That is gross. I found it quite gross, actually.
That is shocking. Yeah, so I think that's another podcast, ladies.
Single
Yes.
mums.
Single men?
Single mothers.
Well, I guess I'm talking about single mums, how they are perceived and why. And should there be more of a focus from the government on, getting fathers of these children to pay up if they're not already. Obviously, lots of dads are doing the right thing.
Of course.
They are not living with their children necessarily, or they could be sort of, having sort of co-parenting, whatever, and they're doing the right thing. However, should the government push for financial aid from dads?
Definitely.
Well, you've been listening to Beautifully Melanated Podcast on Lightning FM. Thank you for joining us this evening. It's been lovely talking to you. So if you have any views and you want to text us or send us a message about anything we've discussed tonight, our telephone number once again is 07598 160 730. 07598 160 730.
And thank you for staying with us despite the technology issues at the start. It was much. Maybe something is aligning in the stars and the planets. But yeah, thank you for staying with us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Technology, as you know, is not my friend.
Or mine. And one day we're going to get this ad break perfectly.
We're going to get it right.
But I know we are coming up to the end of the show. So see you next time. Take care. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Beautifully